You step off the plane, and the air hits you like cold champagne. So clean, so pure. It's actually been measured as the cleanest breathing air on the entire planet. You look around and realize you can drive for 3 hours in any direction and never see another car. You're standing on an island with rainforests older than the Amazon, beaches voted the most beautiful in the world, and a night sea that literally glows electric blue when you touch it. This isn't New Zealand. This isn't Patagonia. This isn't some over-photoshopped dream. This is Tasmania, the heart-shaped island dangling off the bottom of Australia that the rest of the world has been flying over for decades without ever looking down. But right now, in the next 45 minutes, everything changes. Because I'm about to take you on a journey across the wildest, weirdest, most jaw-droppingly beautiful place you've never been. We're talking convict ruins that look like Lord of the Rings sets, wine that destroys Burgundy in blind tastings, mountains that make Jurassic Park look tame, and a glowing ocean so bright it will ruin every other night sky for you forever. By the time this video ends, you won't just want to visit Tasmania. You'll be frantically checking flight prices and wondering how soon you can quit your job. This is the island the world almost forgot, and the one that's about to become your biggest obsession. Welcome to Tasmania. Turn your phone on Do Not Disturb, grab a drink, and let's go steal an hour of your life you'll never want back. Imagine stepping off the plane into air so pure it's officially the cleanest on the entire planet. Air that makes you breathe deeper without even trying. You're standing on an island where rainforests have been growing uninterrupted for 300 million years, where you can drive for hours along winding coastal roads and see zero other cars, and where beaches look like someone spilled diamonds across perfect white sand. This is Tasmania, the heart-shaped island dangling off the bottom of Australia that the rest of the world flies right over without ever noticing. But right now, in the next few minutes, everything is about to change for you. Because by the time this chapter ends, you'll know why Tasmania isn't just Australia's greatest secret. It's one of the last places on Earth where true wilderness still wins. Stay with me, because I'm about to show you a glowing ocean that turns night into magic, a beach so beautiful it will ruin every other beach you ever see, and mountains that make Jurassic Park look like a backyard garden. This is Tasmania, the island the world almost forgot, and the one you're about to fall completely in love with. Tasmania is only 68,000 square kilometers, about the size of Ireland. Yet more than 42% of it is locked away forever as national parks, World Heritage Areas, and marine reserves. That's an area bigger than Switzerland, that no developer, no miner, no road will ever touch. Only about 570,000 people live here. To put that in perspective, the entire island has fewer residents than a single suburb of Sydney or Melbourne. That means space. Endless, glorious, soul-restoring space. When you land in Hobart, the tiny capital hugging the Derwent River, the first thing that hits you is the silence. Not awkward silence. Beautiful, deep, ancient silence, broken only by bellbirds chiming in the trees and the soft slap of waves against fishing boats. The air smells like eucalyptus, salt, and something indefinably clean. You instantly feel lighter, like the mainland's noise and rush just slid off your shoulders the moment you cross the Bass Strait. This isn't Australia's little brother or a colder version of the mainland. Tasmania is its own universe. The island broke away from Antarctica 50 million years ago, carrying with it plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Trees that were saplings when the pyramids were built are still standing tall. Marsupial carnivores that vanished everywhere else still hunt under star-drenched skies. Rivers run so pure you can fill your bottle straight from a waterfall and drink without a second thought. And because we're closer to the South Pole than to the equator, the light here is different. Sharper, cleaner, more golden in summer, and electric blue in winter when the aurora australis dances overhead. Over the next hour, we're going island-wide, From convict ruins that still whisper with ghosts to pink granite mountains rising straight out of the sea. From vineyards producing Pinot Noir that beats Burgundy to coastlines National Geographic calls the most dramatic on the planet. From forests older than humanity itself to a bay that glows neon blue when you touch the water at night. This is the Tasmania nobody told you about. Raw, real, and waiting. The island the world almost forgot is calling your name. Let's answer it together right now. Picture this. You're sitting on a harborfront bar stool at sunset, sipping a Pinot Noir that just scored 98 points, watching little penguins waddle out of the water and shake themselves dry 10 meters away, while an Antarctic icebreaker glides past like it's the most normal thing in the world. This isn't a movie. This is just Friday night in Hobart, Tasmania's tiny capital city that somehow packs more cool into 300,000 people than cities 20 times its size. Stay with me for the next few minutes because I'm about to show you the most rebellious museum on Earth, a market that smells like heaven, and streets where history and hipster culture collide in the best possible way. This is Hobart, the coolest little city you've never visited yet. Hobart wakes up slowly, wrapped around the wide, glassy Derwent River with Mount Wellington standing guard at 1,271 meters, often wearing a fresh cap of snow even in summer. The moment you wander down to Salamanca Place, those gorgeous Georgian sandstone warehouses glow warm honey in the morning light. This row of buildings started life in the 1,832, storing whale, oil, and rum. Survived convicts and world wars, and today houses, galleries, whiskey bars, and cafes where the barista probably sailed in on a wooden boat he built himself. Saturday is when the city truly explodes. The Salamanca market stretches for an entire kilometer, with 300 stalls of pure Tasmanian magic. Imagine the smell: leatherwood honey that tastes like liquid butterscotch, handmade brie from cows that only eat wild pasture, fresh scallops served straight from the boat, and gin distilled with native pepperberries that makes your lips tingle. Buskers play didgeridoo mixed with Celtic fiddle while kids chase seagulls and old men argue about the best way to smoke salmon. It's chaotic, colorful, and completely addictive. 5 minutes from the market, you're at Constitution Dock, eating the world's freshest fish and chips wrapped in paper, watching million-dollar yachts tied up next to working fishing trawlers. Towering over everything are bright orange Antarctic research ships, actual vessels that head to the ice every summer and come back with scientists who drink flat whites here like regular people. Turn the corner and you'll stumble on Australia's oldest pub, still pouring cascading beers the way they did in 1829. But the real game changer, the reason Hobart went from sleepy to globally cool overnight, is Mona, the Museum of Old and New Art. Billionaire gambler David Walsh dug this insane underground labyrinth into a cliff and filled it with the most provocative art on the planet. You take a camouflaged ferry up the river, walk down 3 levels into the bedrock, and suddenly you're standing in front of a wall cast from real human vaginas, next to a machine that literally eats food and poops every day at 2 p.m. sharp. There are mummies, a waterfall that writes rude words with falling water, and a room where the lights go out, and you're surrounded by total darkness and the smell of fear from other visitors. Walsh said he built Mona because suburban museums are boring. I wanted something my mates would actually come see. It worked. People now fly direct from London just for a weekend at Mona. They even have festivals called Dark Mofo in winter with naked redskin swimmers and midnight concerts inside the museum. It's wild, it's wrong, it's wonderful. Evenings in Hobart feel like the city is showing off just for you. Battery Point's tiny cottages glow with lamplight. The Cascade Brewery, Australia's oldest, sits in the shadow of the mountain pouring amber perfection, and waterfront restaurants serve wallaby tartare and saffron-infused octopus, while the river turns molten gold. And the best part? You can walk everywhere. No traffic jams, no crowds, just you, perfect cool climate wine, and little penguins going about their penguin business completely unbothered by humans. Hobart doesn't shout about how cool it is. It just is. And once you've spent a day here, every other city starts feeling a little too loud, a little too loud, a little too rushed, a little too ordinary. This tiny capital at the edge of the world just stole your heart, and you're totally okay with that. Imagine pulling up to a tiny cellar door in the middle of nowhere. The sommelier pours you a sparkling wine that beats half of champagne in blind tastings. And as the bubbles dance on your tongue, a wallaby hops between the vines like it's the most normal thing in the world. This is not Bordeaux, not Marlborough. This is Tasmania, where some of the finest cool climate wines on the planet are made by people who still answer the phone themselves and often throw in a free bottle just because you came all this way. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because I'm about to take you vineyard, hopping through valleys that look like Lord of the Rings, show you oysters so fresh they're still kissing the sea, and reveal why Tasmania's Pinot Noir is quietly becoming the most sought-after red wine in the world. Your taste buds are about to fall in love with an island. Just 30 minutes drive north of Hobart, and the city melts away into rolling hills draped with perfect rows of vines. Welcome to the Coal River Valley, Tasmania's original wine country, where the soil is ancient, the air is Antarctic clean, and the sunsets paint everything the color of rosé. This little pocket sits on the magical 42nd parallel south, the exact same latitude as Champagne, Tuscany, and Oregon's Willamette Valley, but with one huge advantage. No pollution, no crowds, and water so pure it's basically liquid diamond. That purity ends up in every single glass. At Joseph Cromie, you sit on a terrace overlooking a lake, tasting a peppermint trail Chardonnay that actually smells like walking through eucalyptus forest after rain. The winemaker Zedar grows his grapes surrounded by peppermint gum trees, and somehow that cool minty note sneaks into the wine. Nearby, Stefano Lubiana makes biodynamic sparkling that gets 97-98 points from critics who thought nothing south of Reims could touch real champagne. Wrong. Then there's Pooley Wines, a 7th-generation family affair where the grandmother still picks grapes and the Pinot Noir tastes like cherries soaked in forest floor and fairy dust. Head further north to the Tamar Valley, and the landscape turns almost unreal. Misty rivers, patchwork hills, and vines marching down to the water like green soldiers. Piper's Brook, Jans, and Clover Hill produce sparkling wines using the exact same method traditionnel as champagne. Hand-picked grapes, second fermentation in the very bottle you drink from, years on yeast lees. The difference? You're paying half the price, and the winemaker will probably walk you through the vineyard himself, telling stories about harvesting in the snow because, yes, sometimes it snows on vintage day in Tasmania. But wine here is never just about the wine. It's about the pairing. Drive 5 minutes from any cellar door, and you'll hit an oyster farm. At Barilla Bay or Melshell, you grab a dozen Pacific oysters, straight from the lease, shucked in front of you for $10. They taste like the ocean decided to become butter. Further along, the Tamar is famous for wasabi. Real wasabi grown in spring water, so pure it makes Japanese growers jealous. One scrape on your tongue, and your sinuses teleport to another dimension. Add in hand-dived abalone, grass-fed beef from cows that only eat wild herbs, and saffron that sells for more per gram than gold, and you understand why Michelin-level chefs are moving here. The numbers are insane. Tasmania has less than 1% of Australia's vines, but produces over 40% of its ultra-premium wine. Our Pinot Noirs regularly beat Burgundy in blind tastings and disappear into private cellars of collectors who know the secret. And because tourism is still catching up, you often have entire tasting rooms to yourself. The Sommelier Pours Museum releases from the 90 seconds tells you about the year it hailed on flowering and they only made 200 cases, and you walk out with liquid history in your boot for the price of a mid-range Barossa Shiraz. Sunset in the Tamar Valley is ridiculous. The light turns the river molten copper, vines glow like emeralds, and hot air balloons drift silently overhead. You raise a glass of 98-point Pinot, perfectly chilled, watching the sky explode in pink and orange, and realize you're drinking geography. 300 million-year-old soils, air filtered by the roaring 40s winds that have circled the globe uninterrupted, and passion poured straight from people who love this island more than fame. Tasmania doesn't make a lot of wine. It just makes the wine you'll remember for the rest of your life. Cheers to that. What if I told you that the most beautiful historic site in Australia was once called Hell on Earth? A place so brutal that strong men broke down and begged to be hanged just to escape. Yet today, you can stand there at sunset, watching dolphins play in water so blue, it hurts your eyes, while the ruins glow like something from a fantasy novel. This is Port Arthur, Tasmania's haunting, heartbreaking, and heartbreakingly beautiful convict prison. The one place every visitor says, change them forever. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because I'm about to walk you through walls that still echo with 180-year-old screams, show you a church built by murderers that was never allowed to be holy, and reveal why this dark chapter of history somehow leaves you feeling more alive than ever. Just an hour's drive southeast of Hobart, the Tasman Peninsula juts out like a jagged thumb into the Southern Ocean. To get to Port Arthur, you wind along the eerily named Dew Town, where every house has dew in its name. Dew Little, Xanadu, Dewdrop Inn, and suddenly, the road opens up to reveal a sweeping green lawn, rolling down to a perfect harbor. At first glance, it looks like an English country estate. Then you see the ruins, the massive sandstone penitentiary, the separate prison with its rows of tiny isolation cells, the elegant but roofless church, and you realize this postcard view once held 12,000 of Britain's worst criminals, and some who were just children caught stealing bread. From 1833 to 1877, Port Arthur was the end of the line. If you survived the 4-month voyage from England in chains, survived Norfolk Island or Sarah Island, and still caused trouble, they sent you here. The philosophy was simple: break the mind, not just the body. The penitentiary held nearly 500 men in complete silence. Speaking earned you 100 lashes. But the real terror was the separate prison next door. Total solitary confinement, 23 hours a day in a cell barely bigger than a parking space. When prisoners were allowed out for exercise, they wore hoods so they never saw another human face. Some were kept like this for years. Many went irretrievably mad, clawing at the walls until their fingers bled. One boy, aged 14, begged the guards to hang him because death was better than the silence. Walk into cell 47 inches, the separate prison today, and the heavy door swings shut behind you with a thud that sucks the air from your lungs. The only sound is your own heartbeat. 30 seconds feels like 30 minutes. Imagine years. Then step outside into blinding beauty. Turquoise water, green hills, rosellas flashing crimson in the trees. That contrast is what hits hardest. Nature didn't care about human cruelty. It just kept being perfect. Yet, the site is strangely peaceful now. The church the convicts built with their own hands stands open to the sky, never consecrated because a murderer's hands laid every brick. On windy days, you can hear the ghosts of hymns that were never sung. At dusk, the guard tower casts long shadows across the lawn where officers once played cricket while prisoners starved below. And when the sun drops, the entire peninsula turns gold and the water catches fire. Dolphins breach right in front of the ruins like they're putting on a show just for you. It's impossible not to feel the weight of what happened here, and equally impossible not to feel overwhelming gratitude that it ended. Nighttime ghost tours are famous for a reason. Guides in period costume lead you by lantern light. Doors slam by themselves. Cold spots appear in 25-degree heat. Children's footsteps run along corridors that have been empty for 150 years. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the the stories are real. The prisoner who carved a tiny bird from bone that's still in the museum, the doctor who went mad and thought he was a teapot, the little boys locked up for stealing apples. Port Arthur forces you to look straight at the darkest parts of human history, and then wraps it all in beauty so intense it feels like forgiveness. You leave quieter than you arrived. Most people do. Something about standing where so much suffering happened, surrounded by so much peace now, rewires the way you see the world. Port Arthur isn't just ruins. It's proof that time and nature can heal anything, that beauty can grow out of pain, and that some places change you forever. If Tasmania has a soul, part of it still walks these grounds at night, waiting for you to come listen. You crest the final hill after a 20-minute hike, legs burning just enough to make it feel earned, and suddenly the world drops away. Below you curves the most perfect bay on earth, a flawless crescent of blinding white sand, water so turquoise it looks photoshopped, framed by pink granite peaks that glow like they're lit from within. This is Wineglass Bay in Freycinet National Park, voted one of the world's top 10 beaches by every magazine that matters. And right now there might be 4 other people on it. Stay with me for the next few minutes because I'm about to take you kayaking with seals through water clearer than glass, show you wombats sunbaking like fat teddy bears, and reveal why this one short walk will ruin every other beach for you forever. Welcome to paradise, Tasmanian style. The Great Eastern Drive from Hobart to Freycinet is one of the planet's great coastal roads. 220 kilometers of empty beaches, roadside oyster stalls where you stop the car and eat 2 dozen straight from the ocean for $20, and bays so blue they hurt your eyes. You pass the tiny town of Triabuna, where pelicans wait at the fish and chip shop like regular customers. Then Swansea, where the pubs serve scallop pies that taste like heaven wrapped in pastry. Every bend reveals another wow moment. Sleepy Bay with its perfect round boulders, friendly beaches where the sand squeaks like snow under your feet. And then, the Freycinet Peninsula rises out of the sea like a pink granite cathedral. You park at the trailhead and start the short but steep walk to Wineglass Bay Lookout. It's only 1.6 kilometers return, but the path climbs 300 steps carved into the granite by early tourists with more determination than sense. Halfway up, you're surrounded by wildflowers, purple baronias, golden wattles, waratahs the size of dinner plates. The air smells like honey and salt. Then you reach the saddle between the hazards, those pink mountains named after a whaler who got wrecked here, and the view explodes. Wineglass Bay isn't just beautiful, it's mathematically perfect. The curve of the beach creates a near-perfect wineglass shape when seen from above, hence the name given by whalers who saw blood in the water from slaughtering whales. Today, the only red is from the sunset painting the granite. Drop down the other side, another hour if you're feeling fit, and you step onto sand so white and fine it squeaks. The water temperature hovers around 18-20 degrees Celsius in summer, warm enough to swim for hours. Because the peninsula juts so far out into the ocean, the water is freakishly clear, 30 meters visibility some days. You can see every ripple on the sand beneath you while snorkeling with schools of zebra, fish, and blue wrasse. At the northern end, seals often haul out on the rocks and bark at kayakers who paddle over from Coles Bay. Rent a clear kayak, and you're literally floating on air above a garden of kelp and colorful sponges. Walk the full Hazards Beach circuit, and you'll probably have the entire 12-kilometer loop to yourself. Wombats graze right up to the track, completely unfazed by humans. They look like someone crossed a bear with a guinea pig and gave it zero fear. Wallabies bounce along the waterline like they're auditioning for a Disney movie. At dusk, if you're lucky, a Tasmanian Devil might scurry across the path with that awkward waddle that somehow looks both cute and terrifying. Stay overnight at the luxury lodges or the free campsites, and the night sky is ridiculous. No light pollution means the Milky Way is so bright you can read by it. The Southern Cross hangs right over the bay like it was placed there for Instagram, except Instagram hasn't ruined this place yet. In summer, the water sometimes glows faintly with bioluminescence. Every footstep in the shallows creates blue sparks that trail behind you like magic. Wineglass Bay isn't just a beach. It's the moment you realize humans haven't wrecked everything yet. It's the kind of beauty that makes you whisper, because speaking normally feels disrespectful. National Geographic called it the most beautiful beach in the world. And for once, the hype is an understatement. When you finally drag yourself away, sandy, salty, sunburnt in, all the best ways, you'll understand why so many people reach the lookout, take one look, and immediately start planning how to move to Tasmania forever. Wineglass Bay doesn't just steal your heart. It rearranges your entire priority list. And you'll thank it for the rest of your life. You're standing on a mirror-flat lake at dawn, steam rising from black water, when a jagged mountain peak suddenly turns bright pink as the first ray of sun hits it. Behind you, a wombat the size of a bulldog walks straight up, sniffs your shoe, and couldn't care less that you exist. This is Cradle Mountain, the single most photographed, most loved, and most jaw-dropping corner of Tasmania. In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you deep into ancient rainforests that look exactly like the movie Avatar, show you a lake reflection so perfect it's been called the most beautiful photograph in Australia, and prove why this is the one place on Earth where the wilderness still feels bigger than you are. Get ready. Cradle Mountain is about to steal your breath and never give it back. Cradle Mountain Lake, St. Clair National Park, sits smack in the middle of the Tasmanian Wilderness World Heritage Area. 1.5 million hectares of pure, protected wild. The star is Cradle Mountain itself, a 1,545-meter dolerite beast with a curved summit that looks like a giant cradle rocking in the wind. On a clear day, it dominates the horizon from 80 kilometers away, but nothing prepares you for seeing it up close. You round the corner on the shuttle bus from the visitor center, and the entire valley opens up. Button, grass plains glowing gold, pencil, pine forests standing like dark arrows, and cradle rising straight out of the earth like a dinosaur backbone. The iconic walk starts at Dove Lake. The 6-kilometer circuit is flat enough for kids yet delivers postcard views every 10 steps. On still mornings, the lake becomes a perfect mirror. Cradle's reflections so crisp you can't tell where mountain ends and water begins. Photographers wait hours for the shot. But honestly, you could point a phone anywhere and win awards. Walk clockwise and you pass Ballroom Forest, an enchanted Myrtle Beach rainforest where every tree is draped in glowing green moss so thick it looks like shag carpet. Waterfalls tumble silently into tannin-stained streams, the color of whiskey. The air smells like wet earth and Christmas trees. In spring, the fagus, Australia's only native deciduous tree, turns blood red and the whole forest looks like it's on fire in the best possible way. Want more? Grab a boardwalk to Hanson's Peak or the steeper face track, and you're suddenly above the tree line staring straight down Cradle's sheer cliffs. On a bluebird day, you can see all the way to the west coast and the Southern Ocean glittering on the horizon. In winter, the same track becomes a snowshoe wonderland. The mountain gets dumped on with meters of snow, the lake freezes, and Tasmanian devils leave perfect paw prints across the white. But the animals are the real rock stars. Wombat highways crisscross the button grass. Actual worn paths where generations of fat, furry tanks have marched to their favorite grazing spots. They emerge at dusk like clockwork, grunting and munching, completely unfazed by cameras. Patamelons, tiny kangaroos, bounce through the tea tree. Platypus swim in Ronnie Creek, doing that weird side-to-side wiggle. At night, if you're very quiet on a spotlighting tour, you might see a Tasmanian devil crunching on a wallaby bone or a spotted-tailed quoll hunting in the headlights. These are animals the rest of the world only sees in zoos. Here they just live. The Overland Track starts or ends here. 65 kilometers of pure hiking legend through the heart of the wilderness. Day one alone takes you past Cradle, over Marion's Lookout with 360-degree views that make grown adults cry then down into Waterfall Valley where the sun sets behind Barn Bluff like the mountain is on fire. But you don't need 6 days. Half-day walks from the lodge let you tick off Glacier Rock, Kennewick Falls, or the magical twisted lakes where tarns reflect the sky in impossible colors. Stay at the luxury Cradle Mountain Lodge, and you'll drink hot chocolate spiked with peppermint liqueur in front of a roaring fire while wombats graze outside the window. Or camp for free at one of the walkers' huts and fall asleep to Currawong singing and the wind howling through ancient pines. Either way, the stars are ridiculous. The Milky Way is so bright it casts shadows. David Attenborough filmed here and called it one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. National Geographic put the Dove Lake shot on a cover. And every single day, thousands of photos get posted online with captions like, "I can't believe this is real." Cradle Mountain isn't just a destination. It's the moment you remember why wilderness matters. It's where your soul gets recharged by moss and mountain air, and the simple joy of watching a wombat scratch its bum against a 2,000-year-old tree. When you finally drag yourself away, you'll leave a little piece of your heart under that jagged skyline, and you'll spend the rest of your life trying to get it back. Cradle Mountain doesn't just show you beauty, it reminds you that you're alive. Imagine walking under a canopy so ancient that the trees were fully grown when the first humans painted caves in France. Trees that have never seen an axe, never felt pollution, and drip with moss so thick it glows like green fire. This is the Tarkine, Australia's forgotten jungle, the largest cool temperate rainforest in the southern hemisphere, a living relic of Gondwana that makes the Amazon feel young. In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you down mirror calm rivers where the water reflects 1,000 shades of green, show you a waterfall taller than a 30-story building crashing through untouched forest, and stand you beside Huon pines over 3,000 years old that are still growing. This is the wildest place in Tasmania, and quite possibly the wildest place left on Earth. Drive the Western Explorer Road in the northwest, and the world simply ends. Sealed roads stop, mobile reception Ds, and suddenly you're on a narrow gravel track, winding between walls of horizontal scrub, so dense the first explorers literally gave up and called it impenetrable. This is the Tarkine, or Takena. To the Aboriginal people who have walked here for 40,000 years, it covers nearly 500,000 hectares, an area the size of 600,000 football fields, and almost all of it is untouched. No towns, no shops, no power lines, just pure prehistoric wilderness. The stars of the show are the trees, Huon pines that take 1,000 years to reach maturity and then live another 2,000. Some of the giants you'll see were alive when Jesus walked the earth. They grow so slowly that their timber is the most prized boat-building wood in history, tighter than teak, naturally laced with oil that makes it rot-proof. Touch one, and your fingers come away smelling like Christmas, and the ocean had a baby. Myrtle, sassafras, and leatherwood form a cathedral canopy overhead, every branch wrapped in luminous moss and lichens that exist nowhere else on the planet. Walk the Tarkine's boardwalks, and the air is so rich with oxygen you feel slightly drunk. The ground is spongy with 500 years of leaf litter. Every footstep makes a soft poof like walking on memory foam. Take a boat cruise down the Pieman River, and reality bends. The water is black tea from the tannins, but so perfectly reflective that the forest appears upside down. Trees lean over the river like they're trying to drink their own reflection. At low speed, the boat barely disturbs the surface. Kingfishers dive inches from the bow. Sea eagles circle overhead. And if you're very quiet, you might spot a platypus doing laps. Stop at the old mining settlement of Pieman Heads, and the only sound is waves crashing on a beach that no road reaches. Further upstream, the Arthur River is officially called the edge of the world, because there is nothing but ocean between here and Patagonia. For waterfalls, nothing beats Montezuma Falls, Tasmania's tallest at 104 meters. A 3-hour return walk on an old tramway takes you through myrtle forests so dark that glowworms light the path at noon. Then the trees part, and Montezuma roars out of the cliff like liquid silver, the spray creating permanent rainbows. Stand on the suspension bridge swaying directly underneath and feel the power in your bones. Or hike to the Philosopher Falls where water cascades in perfect tears through ferns the size of umbrellas. The wildlife here is shy but incredible. Tasmanian devils den under giant logs. Spotted-tailed quolls hunt at night with eyes like green stars. And wedge-tailed eagles, the size of small aircraft, soar on thermals above the canopy. Orange-bellied parrots, one of the rarest birds on Earth, migrate here every summer. Scientists keep finding new species of fungi, insects, even moss that exist only in this one pocket of the planet. The Tarkine has been fought over for decades. Mining companies want the tin and magnesite beneath. Loggers want the specialty timbers. But every time someone tries, the world says no. Protests, blockades, celebrities chaining themselves to trees. It's all happened here. And every time the forest wins. Today, most of it is protected. Some as national park. Some waiting for final World Heritage listing. When you stand among those ancient hewens and realize they've survived ice ages, megafires, and human greed, you feel something close to religious awe. Sunset in the Tarkine is unreal. The low light turns every moss-covered log into glowing emerald. The rivers become molten gold, and the silence is so complete you can hear your own heartbeat. Camp at the free sites along the Arthur River and fall asleep to the sound of waves that have traveled 15,000 kilometers uninterrupted from South America. Wake up to mist drifting through the canopy like the forest is breathing. The Tarkine isn't a tourist attraction. It's a time machine. It's proof that Gondwana never really left us. It's the last place where you can walk for days and never see a single sign of the 21st century. And right now, while the rest of the world argues about climate and deforestation, this rainforest just keeps growing. Quietly, patiently, perfectly. The Tarkine doesn't need us. But we desperately need places like the Tarkine to remind us what Earth looked like before we arrived, and what it can still be if we let it. This is wilderness with a capital W. This is the island's beating green heart, and it's calling you to come lose yourself. And maybe, just maybe, find something you didn't know you'd lost. Imagine standing on a beach where the sand is so white it hurts to look at in the sun. The rocks glow bright orange like they've been painted by aliens, and the water is a shade of blue that doesn't have a name yet. Now, imagine having the entire 50-kilometer stretch completely to yourself. No footprints, no voices, just the roar of the Southern Ocean, and the feeling that you're the first human who ever set foot here. This is Tasmania's coastline, 5,000 kilometers of pure, ridiculous drama that National Geographic calls the most beautiful in the world. In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you cliff diving with seals under 300-meter sea cliffs, show you a beach that changes color every hour, and stand you at the southernmost road in Australia, where the next stop south is Antarctica. Get ready, because Tasmania's edge is about to blow your mind. Tasmania is an island that refuses to do coastlines politely, while the mainland has long, golden surfing beaches. Tassie decided to go full dramatic. Dolerite columns taller than the Eiffel Tower plunging straight into electric blue water. Perfect crescent bays framed by lichen orange boulders. And waves that have traveled uninterrupted from South America before smashing into cliffs with a boom you feel in your chest. Start in the northeast at the Bay of Fires. Captain Tobias Furneaux named it in 1773 when he saw dozens of Aboriginal fires glowing along the shore. Today the fires are gone, but the name stays because the rocks are on fire, covered in bright orange lichen that looks radioactive against snow-white sand and water. So turquoise it hurts. Walk from Binalong Bay to Eddystone Lighthouse, and you'll pass beach after beach with zero people. The sand squeaks, the boulders are sculpted into impossible shapes by a million years of waves, and at low tide, rock pools become aquariums full of neon anemones and tiny crabs. Camp illegally. Shh. right on the dunes and wake to sunrise, turning the whole coast molten gold. Lonely Planet called it one of the world's most beautiful beaches, and for once they didn't exaggerate. Head south and the coast gets taller and wilder. The Tasman Peninsula has the highest sea cliffs in the southern hemisphere. 300-meter dolerite monsters that make you feel like a toy. Take a boat from Eaglehawk Neck and suddenly you're skimming under the Candlestick, the totem pole, and Tasman Island Lighthouse perched on a rock that looks photoshopped. Fur seals bark from caves. Albatross with 3-meter wingspans glide past your head, and waves explode 60 meters high through blowholes. The skipper guns the boat into a narrow chasm called the Cathedral and cuts the engine. Total silence except water dripping from the ceiling 100 meters above. You realize humans are guests here, not owners. Then there's Bruny Island, just a 20-minute ferry from Hobart but a world away. Drive to the Neck Lookout and you're standing on a sand spit so narrow you can see both sides of the island at once. The wild Southern Ocean on one side, calm Adventure Bay on the other. At dusk, hundreds of little penguins form a glowing white highway as they waddle home across the sand right under the boardwalk. Further south, Cape Bruny Lighthouse stands alone against storms that have sunk 100 ships. On a clear day, you can see the jagged silhouette of the southwest wilderness 100 kilometers away. Keep going and the roads get smaller, the turns sharper, until you reach Cockle Creek, the southernmost drivable point in Australia. Park the car, walk 10 minutes through Peppermint Forest, and step onto a beach made of perfect tiny cockle shells that crunch like snow. There's a bronze plaque. Next landfall south, Antarctica, 3,500 kilometers. No shops, no houses, no phone reception. Just you. The roaring 40s winds that have circled the planet uninterrupted, and waves so powerful they shake the ground. In summer, the water glows faintly with bioluminescence. Every footstep leaves blue sparks. In winter storms, the ocean turns apocalyptic and you feel gloriously small. Everywhere you look, the coastline changes personality. The white sand and turquoise of Wineglass Bay, the black cliffs and orange rocks of Fortescue Bay, the endless dunes of Ocean Beach on the west coast, 40 kilometers of raw ocean where the sun sets directly into the Indian Ocean and the waves sound like freight trains. Even the names are perfect. Shipstern Bluff, where surfers ride 15-meter monsters. Hell's Gates at Macquarie Harbor, where the entrance is so narrow convicts called it the Gates of Hell. Tasmania's coast doesn't just look spectacular. It makes you feel something deep. Standing on an empty beach with the wind howling and the ocean stretching forever, you remember that the planet is still wild, still bigger than us, still capable of pure, untouched beauty. This isn't a coastline you visit. It's a coastline that resets your soul. And the best part? Most of it will stay exactly like this forever. 42% of Tasmania is locked as World Heritage Wilderness, and the coast is the crown jewel. So if you've ever wanted to feel like the last person on Earth while still having a decent coffee nearby, this is it. Tasmania's edge isn't just the end of Australia. It's the beginning of something ancient and unstoppable. Come stand here once, and you'll spend the rest of your life trying to get back. You're standing ankle deep in warm summer shallows. It's pitch black, and you drag one foot through the sand. Suddenly, the ocean explodes into electric blue fire. Every step, every ripple, every fish darting away lights up like a lightning bolt underwater. You splash water on your arms and it sticks, glowing neon for seconds while you write your name in liquid starlight. This isn't CGI, isn't the Maldives or some tropical bucket list dream. This is Tasmania, where on the right night the sea turns into pure magic. Stay with me for the next few minutes because I'm about to show you the strongest, brightest bioluminescence on the planet, take you kayaking through glowing fairy trails, and prove why this forgotten island has a secret superpower that makes the rest of the world's beaches look boring after dark. Bioluminescence in Tasmania isn't rare. It's ridiculous. We have the perfect storm. Freezing Antarctic water slamming into warm summer currents, pumping the ocean full of nutrients, plus zero light pollution and almost no people. The result? Microscopic plankton called Noctiluca scintillans and dinoflagellates that flash electric blue when disturbed. On a good night, the glow is so strong you can read a book by it. The easiest spot is Preservation Bay, near Penguin, on the north coast. Park the car after sunset, walk 30 seconds to the water, and throw a pebble. The splash creates a blue fireball that expands outward like a supernova. Wade in and every movement detonates light. Your legs leave comet trails. Fish shoot past like torpedoes leaving glowing wakes. And if you lie on your back and kick, the entire universe explodes around you in slow-motion blue fireworks. Locals call it the galaxy in the sea. And on a moonless night in February or March, it's brighter than the Milky Way overhead. But the absolute pinnacle is kayaking with Bruny Island adventures at night. You launch from a quiet beach on the D'Entrecasteaux Channel, paddle out under a sky full of stars, and then the magic starts. Every stroke of your paddle ignites a blade of pure blue light. Whole schools of fish panic beneath you and create underwater auroras that swirl and pulse. Dolphins sometimes join in, their bodies outlined in neon as they surf the bow wave, leaving glowing torpedoes that fade slowly behind. The guide turns off all headlamps and you just sit there in total darkness while the ocean breathes light. One splash from your hand and droplets hang in the air, glowing like fairies before falling back as blue rain. Further east, at the Gardens near Binalong Bay in the Bay of Fires, the orange lichen rocks create an insane contrast. Fiery orange boulders against a black sky and a sea that looks like flowing lava made of sapphires. Walk along the waterline and your footprints glow for 10 seconds behind you. Kids draw glowing angels in the wet sand. Couples write messages that shine bright enough to read from the clifftop above. Scientists say Tasmania's bioluminescence is among the strongest and most reliable on Earth because our waters are still pristine. No agricultural runoff, no city lights, no massive tourism yet. The plankton bloom in summer when the water hits 18-20 degrees Celsius and the displays can last from December to April. Some years are legendary. 2023 and 2024 were off the charts, with reports of people seeing the glow from aeroplanes 10,000 meters up. Even better, you don't need fancy gear. Just a dark night, warm clothes, the air cools fast, and a beach facing south or east. Popular free spots include Preservation Bay, Boat Harbor, Turner's Beach near Devonport, Marion Bay near Triabuna, and Clifton Beach, 20 minutes from Hobart. Arrive an hour after sunset. Let your eyes adjust for 10 minutes, and prepare to have your mind blown. Phones struggle to capture it. The glow is too fast for most sensors. So this is one natural wonder you actually have to see with your own eyes. Stand there long enough, and something spiritual happens. The ocean feels alive, responding to your every move. You realize you're swimming in stars, that the same light show happening in the sky is happening under your feet. Kids scream with pure joy. Grown adults cry. Tough blokes who've never said beautiful in their lives whisper it over and over. It's impossible to feel stressed when the sea is literally sparkling because of you. Tasmania's glowing beaches aren't marketed like the Maldives or Bora Bora because we're still half asleep down here. And honestly, most locals love that the rest of the world hasn't discovered it yet. But the secret is slipping. Every summer, more photos go viral, more influencers show up with tripods, more tour boats add night departures. So if watching the ocean turn into liquid northern lights sounds like something you need to experience before you die, don't wait. Because one day the crowds will come, the light pollution will creep in, and this magic will dim. But right now, tonight, somewhere on a quiet Tasmanian beach, the sea is waiting to light up just for you. Grab a torch, drive into the darkness, and go make some memories that no camera will ever truly capture. The ocean is ready to show you its superpower. Are you ready to believe in magic again? You've just spent the last hour falling hopelessly in love with an island most people can't even point to on a map. You've breathed the cleanest air on Earth, tasted wine that beats Burgundy, stood on beaches that make the Caribbean look washed out, and watched the ocean explode into blue fire under your feet. And now, You're wondering, how has the entire world not moved here yet? The answer is simple. Tasmania has spent the last 50 years pretending to be boring on purpose. We leaned into every bad joke, two heads, bad weather, terrible roads, just to keep you away. But the secret's out. Direct flights from the US are landing. Netflix is filming multi-million-dollar series in our forests, and houses that sat empty for decades now have sold stickers before the sign even goes up. So, this final chapter isn't just a goodbye. It's an urgent love letter. Because the Tasmania you just fell for is changing fast. And if you wait too long, the empty beaches, the silent roads, and the "we've got the whole place to ourselves" feeling might be gone forever. Stay until the very last second, because I'm about to tell you exactly why you need to book that flight right now. For almost 2 centuries, Tasmania played the role of Australia's quirky, slightly backwards cousin. Mainland comedians made endless jokes about inbreeding and webbed feet. We had the highest unemployment, the lowest education scores, the oldest housing stock. When young people finished school, the advice was universal: get on the ferry and don't come back. And we were fine with that, because while the rest of Australia chased mining booms and skyscrapers, we quietly locked away 42% of our island as national parks and World Heritage Wilderness, an area larger than Denmark that can never, ever be touched. We let the forests grow back, let the devils and wallabies reclaim the night, let the rivers run so clean you can drink straight from them. We turned being forgotten into our superpower. But something shifted. Mona shocked the world. Our cool climate wines started beating the French in blind tastings. Chefs discovered oysters that taste like the ocean concentrated into a single bite. Hollywood found landscapes that look like another planet. They filmed parts of Furiosa and the Nightingale here. Suddenly, the same island everyone laughed at was being called the New New Zealand by travel magazines. Qantas launched direct flights from Dallas and Los Angeles. Virgin started flying from Brisbane daily. Property prices in Hobart jumped 50% in 2 years. Cafes that used to close at 3 p.m. now have queues out the door. The sleepy capital that once rolled up its sidewalks at dusk now has rooftop bars, secret laneway restaurants, and festivals that sell out in minutes. Yet, here's the miracle. Even if every seat on every plane is full tomorrow, even if tourism triples overnight, nothing truly important can change. That 42% is locked forever by law. Cradle Mountain will still wake up covered in frost. Wineglass Bay will still be empty at sunrise. The Tarkeen will keep growing trees older than civilization. The glowing plankton will keep turning the sea neon blue. The wombats will keep waddling across the road like they own the place, because they do. You might have to book your favorite restaurant a week ahead instead of walking in, and you might see another car every 10 minutes instead of every 10 hours. But the soul of Tasmania, the wild, weird, heart-stopping beauty that stole your heart in the last hour, is protected for every single generation to come. So here's the truth. Tasmania isn't getting ruined. It's waking up. And right now, in this exact sweet spot of history, you have the chance to experience the perfect balance: world-class food, wine, and art, plus wilderness so pure it feels prehistoric, with just enough other travelers to swap stories over a whiskey at the end of the day, but not enough to ever feel crowded. This moment won't last forever. 10 years from now, the direct flights will be packed, the hidden beaches will have more footprints, and the locals who used to wave at every passing car might start complaining about traffic. Don't let that happen to you. Don't be the person who watches this video, feels their heart race, and then says, one day becomes never. Book the flight, hire the camper van, stuff your hiking boots in the suitcase and your sense of adventure in your carry-on. Come breathe air that makes you dizzy with how clean it is. Come stand on a cliff top while the roaring 40s try to blow you into the Southern Ocean. Come drink Pinot Noir, poured by the winemaker himself, while wallabies graze outside the window. Come watch the sea turn into liquid stars and realize magic is real. Tasmania isn't just a destination. It's the last place on Earth where you can still feel like the first person to discover true, untamed beauty. The island the world almost forgot is finally ready to be loved. Properly, fiercely, completely. And it's waiting for you. Not next year. Not when you retire. Not when work calms down. Now. Right now. Thank you for letting me show you my home. Thank you for falling in love with it the way I did the first time I saw Wineglass Bay and realized no postcard could ever do it justice. Tasmania doesn't need saving. It needs visitors who understand how rare, how fragile, how perfect it is. Come slowly, tread lightly, leave nothing but footprints, and take nothing but photographs and glowing memories. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels and see you in the next video.